#1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world in 23, 24, and 25. He cleaned out that division, and he has decided to take his 15-fight win streak and move up to attempt to become one of a few fighters in UFC history to win belts in 2 different divisions.
Jack Della Maddalena has a problem. And look, it's not the kind you fix in the gym. Not cardio, not technique, none of that. His problem is that Islam Makhachev exists. You see, Jack's been doing everything right. Over 9 straight wins, bodies dropping, hype building. He finally gets to the welterweight throne, and of course, the one guy who's made an entire career out of making professional fighters look like they forgot how to fight decides now's the time to move up. So, here's the thing. Islam thinks 170 pounds is just another weight class that belongs to him.
And now you're talking about going to 170.
Brother, I don't see someone who can give me a tough fight. I have other goal, other target. I know I can be double champ.
And the terrifying part, he might actually be right. This is a man who turns lightweights into passengers in their own fights. Chaos look like choreography when he's in there. He's never, and I mean never, not been the smartest person in the cage. But Jack solves problem differently. He just hits you. Keep hitting you until the problem stops moving. That's the whole system. And that's what makes November 15 so damn interesting. Islam's betting his system works anywhere, against anyone, at any weight. Jack's betting his power and size are the problems the system can account for. One of them is wrong. The co-main event has just as much on the line here. Valentina spent years being untouchable, the standard everyone else chases. Zhang, she spent the last 2 years proving she's not chasing anymore. She's already there.
One of the greatest fights that you will ever see in your life is Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And I don't mean female fights. One of the greatest fights you'll ever see.
It's been a while since we've had a fight of this caliber in women's MMA, and it's been a while since we've seen 2 fighters abandon comfort, climb a division higher, and ask the same question. When you chase greatness, does size finally catch up? At UFC 322, we get to witness it all.
Fighting Business is one of my favorite new channels going right now.
Thank you to the Fighting Business, absolutely amazing.
As you guys know, I'm not home right now. I've been traveling around Europe in the last few weeks, and I've actually been documenting the whole process. What I want to do on that channel is combine cinematography with some storytelling as well, not just show the places I go to, but also the thoughts and experiences that come with it. Last week I was in the Dolomites in Italy, and I shot some of the most beautiful mountains in the world. Maybe not as nice as Dagestan, but it's pretty damn close. Anyways, if you're interested in following these little side quests, I'll leave the link in the description. Zhang Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko. So, Zhang Weili is just walking away from strawweight. Like, let that sink in for a second. She's not getting pushed out. She didn't lose her belt. She's not running from anyone. She's leaving because there's literally nothing left to do at 115. She submitted Carla Esparza. Remember when everyone thought Carla would wrestle her to death? Yeah. That aged well. She defended against Amanda Lemos, Yan Xiaonan, and Tatiana Suarez. She cleared out the entire division, dropped a belt on the table, and said, I'm good here.
UFC strawweight champion Weili Zhang has accomplished all there is to accomplish at 115 pounds, so she's now going to vacate her title and move up and challenge Valentina Shevchenko.
Most champions would never do that. They'd defend that belt until someone grabbed it from their cold, dead hands. Zhang just let it go, voluntarily. That's either supreme confidence or a bit delusional. Maybe both.
She keeps her ego in check. She has confidence, but not pride. She understands that she's a student. She's trying to be the best martial artist ever.
And now she's moving up to fight Valentina Shevchenko, who, let's be honest, has been bullying flyweights for like half a decade at this point.
But Valentina at 125 is just a fucking monster.
Yeah.
She's a monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's so good.
It's such a huge gap, too.
Valentina got her belt back in that trilogy with Alexa Grasso. Finally. Defended it again at UFC 315. And has just been out here making world-class fighters look like they showed up to the wrong gym. Her striking, textbook, like you could teach a masterclass off her footage. Takedown defense, good luck. Fighting IQ, off the damn charts. When Valentina's locked in, she makes it look boring how easy it is. And I mean that as a compliment. Sort of. But here's the thing that makes this fight super interesting. Zhang isn't just some hungry contender looking for her shot. She's a former champ who's voluntarily testing herself. She chose this fight. That's a completely different energy. And style-wise, these two might as well be from different planets. Valentina fights like a chess master, measured, calculated, always 3 moves ahead. She controls distance, picks her shot, forces you to fight her fight. Zhang brings chaos. She's explosive, aggressive, and completely unpredictable. She wants to drag you into a brawl and make it ugly. That's Zhang's whole bet here. She knows Valentina's game plan. Everyone knows Valentina's game plan at this point. But she's thinking, yeah, but what if I just don't let you do that? What if I bring so much pressure and chaos that your game plan falls apart? For Valentina, this is about legacy. Win here and she solidifies herself as one of the greatest women's fighter ever. Not just at flyweight, but across the entire sport. Lose, and suddenly the division she's dominated for years has a new queen. For Zhang, this is transformation. She's already proven she can dominate one weight class. Now she's asking, can I do it to another? Can I take someone's throne and make it mine? I keep running this fight through my head, and here's what I think happens. Valentina's gonna try to keep range, work her Muay Thai, keep Zhang at the end of her strike where she's most dangerous. Zhang's going to press forward, turn it into a firefight, and make Valentina uncomfortable. If Shevchenko can stick to the game plan, stay technical, stay disciplined, she probably wins on points. But if Zhang can drag her into deep water, if she can drown Valentina with volume and relentless pressure and just make it ugly, then we're watching something special, like career-defining special. Either way, someone's entire legacy gets rewritten on November 15th. One of these women is walking out as an all-time great with their status elevated. The other one is left wondering, what if? Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Okay, so this is where everything gets crazy. Jack Della Maddalena, remember him? The guy took the welterweight belt back in May when he pieced up Belal Muhammad. And look, I know some people thought Belal would wrestle him to death, but Jack just handled it. Decision win, sure, but he was in control. Over 8 straight UFC wins at this point. Hype train going full speed. Everyone's thinking, all right, Jack's the guy at 170.
I believe that if you would have put this fight together a few years ago, people would have been like, oh, Islam's going to kill Jack Della Maddalena. But now, after watching him fight Belal Muhammad, after watching how wonderfully he put together a game plan, it's a much more even fight.
Enter Islam Makhachev. Let's just pause here because this is insane. Islam defended his lightweight belt how many times? Multiple defenses. He beat Volkanovski twice. He submitted Dustin Poirier like it was a Tuesday. Ran through Renato Moicano. This man made killers look like they'd never trained a day in their lives. And after basically cleaning out 155, he just vacates the belt, walks away, says he's moving up to welterweight to fight Jack. I'd say this is some shit nobody would do, but I literally just said that about Weili 2 minutes ago. Anyways. Here's the thing about Islam that honestly keeps me up at night. His game is suffocation. Pure, clinical suffocation. He takes you down, locks you up, and just drains you. Not in some brutal, violent way. It's worse than that. He makes you feel helpless. He takes away every option you thought you had, makes you doubt your own skills, and by round 3, you're just done. Lightweights have been trying to crack the codes for years. None of them figured it out. But, and this is a big but, welterweight is a whole different beast. Bigger dudes, more power, guys who can actually hurt you if you make one mistake.
It doesn't seem very difficult for me to think that if this fight is a striking contest predominantly, Islam's going to have real problems. Islam is not a shitty striker by any stretch of the imagination. I think everyone would agree, but he's not JDM. And again, up a weight class too, not just in terms of pure ability, but how that leverages up a weight class.
Jack's a natural 170-pounder with legitimate one-shot knockout power, the kind of guy who can end your night before you even realize you're in danger. That's Jack's entire game plan here, right? He knows Islam's going to shoot. He knows Islam going to press, clinch, try to drag him down and grind him out. But Jack's betting that his power is the equalizer. One clean shot, one moment of chaos, and suddenly Islam's game plan doesn't matter anymore. And you know what? That's not even a crazy bet. Jack's not some wild brawler swinging for the fences. He's technical, fast, explosive. The timing on his counters make people freeze up. If he can keep this standing, if he can stuff those takedowns and force Islam to box with him, then Islam's basically walking through a minefield every second he's on his feet. But here's where I get nervous for Jack. Islam's the smartest fighter in the sport. Maybe ever. He doesn't rush, he doesn't panic, he just finds things. Little openings you didn't know you were giving him. Mistakes you didn't even realize you made. And once he gets you down, once he starts chaining those takedowns together and you feel your gas tank emptying, all that explosiveness Jack has just evaporates. It becomes just another guy getting folded up like a lawn chair. The storylines here are insane. For Islam, this is legacy stuff. He's not just saying, I beat everyone at lightweight. He's saying, I can beat the best anywhere. If he wins this, he's a 2-division champ. He's in the conversation with GSP, DC, Cejudo, all-time great status, locked in. For Jack, this is everything. He's the new champ. Everyone's watching him, and there's a whole lot to prove. A win here doesn't just prove he deserves the title, it pushes him into pound-for-pound discussion.
If Islam Makhachev defeats Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322 next week, and by the way, that's a big if, it is not a given, okay? He will join Anderson Silva in having the longest win streak in all of the UFC history. 16 fights altogether, undefeated. That is phenomenal. So the question is, does that mean that Islam Makhachev would automatically be one of the GOATs, kind of held in that kind of high regard?
It announces him as a legitimate long-term problem at welterweight, like, yeah, I belong here with the legends type of win. The odds opened with Islam as the favorite, which, to my opinion, I think it's fair. He's been through wars, he's got more title fight experiences, he's faced absolute killers and made them quit. But this isn't a safe lock. Jack's power is real. His size advantage is real. One mistake from Islam, one overcommitted shot, one lazy entry, and Jack could legitimately separate him from consciousness. That's what makes November 15th so terrifying and so exciting at the same time. Jack wants chaos. Islam wants control. And only one of those philosophies is leaving that cage intact. UFC 322 delivers exactly what a stacked pay-per-view should. 2 title fights that matter.
So I think a lot of people look at it as like, well, I've heard of like striker grappler, but it's not really. Like Islam's more than just a grappler. Like he's he's all round. Obviously, he's one of the best MMA guys. But yeah, I think it's pretty underrated. I think a lot of people just think he'll be able to hold me down. I think I got some tricks to get up.
Fighters at crossroads of legacy, division shifts in motion, and stories that stretch beyond just who wins on the night. Shevchenko vs Weili, a statement about who the best woman in MMA is across divisions. JDM vs Islam, a litmus for whether a dominant lightweight can ascend and seize another throne, or whether the new welterweight regime holds firm. 2 similar stories, 2 similar narratives, and one shared truth. Chasing greatness always comes with a cost.